Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to give you an updated movement guide on the stuff that I've recently been doing and anything that you might have missed out on in this game. So I'm going to kind of go through everything right here and make sure that you guys know everything you need to know to have really good movement in this game. Alright, so before we start anything, I'm going to go through the settings, like at least the most important settings you need to have to get good movement. Dang, I'm talking fast. First, you want to go to your graphics and make sure that you do have 120 FOV. Some people like to play 110, 115, maybe go even lower, but the higher your FOV is, the more you're going to be able to control your movement. Alright, so 120 FOV and playing on affected does help with the movement as well. I keep my weapon field view on wide, and then the camera movement, I think having it as low as possible helps the camera not shake as much, just so that it would be easier to hit shots after your movement. Alright. For controller 2, this is very important. You want to make sure you have a really good button layout that's comfortable for your hands. And I always tell people to split your buttons across both hands, so you can use both hands at the same time instead of using all your movement on your right hand. Because I play bumper jumper tactical flipped, and that means I jump with my L2 while I can also prone with my R3. So being that I'm using multiple hands to do these movements, it's extremely easy for me to do a bunch of movement combinations compared to if I was just playing regular default. I would not be as fast as I am now if I didn't play bumper jumper tactical flipped. All right, so make sure, and some people play stick and move, some people have paddles, just make sure that it is comfortable for you and you can press a bunch of different buttons at the same time. Sensitivity is very important. I play on 2 and I have amazing movement. I probably would have better movement if I played on like 5 or 6, but I favor accuracy personally instead of movement. Automatic tac sprint, this has been debated a lot. Some people don't like to use it at all because they want to have like faster sprint to fire time, or they want to be able to use shotguns easier because shotguns are not fun for me. But me using automatic tac sprint, I always have the advantage when I'm sprinting against somebody else, so I always have it on and I know how to work around that, whether it's using shotguns or getting my hip fire, getting my sprint to fire speed on point. All right, and then dead zone, I still play on 0.05 guys. I do play on 0.05 for my left stick too, because that does help with the stick drift, and you could probably put it a little higher, but I do recommend anywhere around like 0.3, 0.25, because the lower you have it, the more you're going to be zooming past people. For better movement, this has made a huge difference for me, and I highly suggest you play on that. I also play 0 dead zone still. I'm still on 0 dead zone for the right stick minimum. This is really good for turning around corners when you're getting better movement. Alright, so keep that right stick low, or maybe 0.03, just somewhere low. Don't have it crazy high. Right stick max doesn't really have to do movement that much. And that is like really all my movement settings. And then this is kind of iffy. Depending on how you want your playstyle to be, you can invert slide and dive behavior. You could have it inverted or standard. Being that I'm starting to slide cancel a lot more, I have it standard, but you can play inverted if you want to prioritize diving a lot more. It just depends on how you want to play, but I find slide canceling a lot better than diving, and I'm going to explain that too. Okay, so first, like I mentioned in the last video, right, slide canceling, so it has come back, not fully, you know, you can't like slide cancel and stop whenever you feel like it, but if you slide and then jump at the end of your foot going out, you get a slide cancel like this. All right, and some people are automatically going to say, oh, well, if I'm going to slide and I can't get out of it until the end of it, then people are just going to shoot me while I'm in the middle of a slide. Like, that's a common thing that people like to say. And the way to counter this is you just got to time your slides. And also, too, you can slide around people. Like, let's just say someone's coming over here and chasing me and I slide over here. Yes, I'm not going to be able to shoot him as fast, but me still breaking his camera gives me enough time to lock onto him and to kill him. So if you use the slide cancel correctly, you can break a lot of cameras that way. So the most times I will use a slide cancel is if I'm coming off a corner, either a head glitch or off a wall, or if somebody's chasing me and then I want to just break their camera. I got to time it right. And another thing you guys probably don't know about the slide cancel is it actually betters your centering and it gives you more aim assist when you are slide canceling. All right, so let's just say right here, right, which is a guide right there, and I slide cancel and pop out like this. Being that I'm sliding and I'm like slowly turning the corner like this, as soon as I pop off on him, I get the peeker's advantage on top of being centered onto his chest. And low sense does help with this as well, because it's easier to lock onto that part if you're on a low sensitivity, and that's going to make it so much easier for you to destroy people off of the slide cancel right there. Alright, so that is really going to help your movement and help you get better aim once you start getting better at slide canceling. Another thing too, slide canceling doesn't reset your tag sprint, so I'm going to slide cancel over and over right here, right? And it's going to stop. Alright, so you can like stop and like if you're like peeking around a little bit and then reset it and then slide cancel again, or you can dive to reset it. You can do a few different things, but sliding like over and over and over does not reset your tag sprint. Next, we're going to go on to dolphin diving. So dolphin diving is really good for just getting out of places extremely fast. So if someone's shooting at you, boom, you know, it's a defense mechanism. I don't recommend it at all for actually fighting people. All right, if you're going to fight people, just slide cancel and pop out and kill them, or just like pop out like this, but don't try to dive onto somebody and shoot them. That's the number one reason, or the number one way I kill people so easily, when people dive around a corner and they stop and then they can't shoot their weapon and I'm just shooting easy headshots. So don't fight while diving. It's really good off buildings too. So if you're on a really high place, you want to dive over there, you get a huge boost from that. So you always want to be diving over buildings. And of course, people know like if you dive onto a spot, that if you dive onto a spot that's like a weird service, I think it's called like the chassis dive or something, you can actually bounce off of it and then pop up real fast, and then you're still in the animation while flying to be able to shoot somebody. I don't do that too much because it is hard to time, and I don't see like huge need for it. Like it's not gonna destroy your PR and like, oh my gosh, I'm so much better at this game because I know this move. But it is something that people use in ranked or sometimes Warzone that can help you out. Alright, I'm gonna try to do it right here. Oh. Yep, I did it right there. So I just popped out like right out here. Had my gun ready. Heard they nerfed it a while ago too, but it still works. Next thing I'm gonna talk about is YYing. Not too many things you could do in this situation, because like in the past COD, if you YY, that was usually good for resetting your ammo. So like let's just say you're shooting and you're reloading. If you YY real fast, you didn't have to keep this animation. You could just use the last bullets you were using. But for movement, it does have some advantages, and I talked about it. I made a whole video about it before. But main thing too, I just would say, is it does get your gun up a lot faster for certain times, or at least it feels like it does. You know, even if YYing isn't as beneficial, it always makes me feel like I'm ready for a gunfight at all times. The worst thing you want to be doing is just running in a loop and you're just like not paying attention because you're like, oh, I just killed that person, I'm just running and I'm not seeing people, and someone pops out and you can't react in time. It's dumb. So YYing is a way to counter that, and just to always like have your gun ready, you know, always be moving like you have ADHD or something. Like, there has been talk before that it does speed up your movement because you're slightly putting the gun away for a second, and it also clears your view. So if you're using a very heavy weapon and you YY, you can actually get a way better view so that you can be able to move around your opponents. Alright, so there's probably some more benefits with YY, but that's just the main ones I could think of off the top of my head. And next movement mechanic I'm going to talk about is drop shotting. This is actually very hard to do off a slide for some reason. Like, they really nerfed that to the ground. So if I'm trying my hardest to slide and then drop shot, it looks like this. But if I just pop out and drop shot, I can do it super fast. So it is interesting. But I do drop shot a lot around corners. Alright, drop shotting is one of the most powerful things in this game. Now that slide cancel is pretty much came back, it is going to be like another thing that you can do. So now we have like two different movement types we can use around corners. But drop shotting is probably still the best one to use. I would suggest to get the best drop shot in the world to like drop shot, like pre-drop shot before a corner. Alright, this is going to help you get ready so that if somebody's there, you're already on the ground and harder to kill. And also too, it's really good for like surveying areas. So if I don't know if people are over there, I could drop shot, and then if there's like a whole team, I can run away like this. Alright, so that is like really good for using movement to actually see the people and run away. Yep, so I would definitely practice that a lot. And a lot of times too, when I turn on people, right, it's crazy because I'm on 2 sensitivity and I still do a 180 turn on somebody. And what helps with that too is as I turn around, I drop shot while I turn around. And with this weapon too, with this MP5, I'm hip firing while I'm drop shotting, so I have no delay at all. Alright, so it would just be like just like that. It's so fast. And the low dead zone does play a part with that too, because being that I have a low dead zone and I play on linear, my reaction speed is extremely fast, so doing 180s to shoot at somebody is really easy for me. And I'm on 2 sensitivity. Alright, this next thing I'm going to talk about is probably something you don't expect. Jumping. Now, jumping is extremely important in this game, and I think it's probably the most underrated thing you can do, just because it's just the jump. But there's certain things that you can use the jump for that's really going to boost your movement. So one of that is the slide jump. So jumping and sliding right here, it actually gives you I think it gives you like a little bit of a bigger boost. And even if it didn't give any boost at all for moving forward, it's really good to throw off your opponent. So like if you see people over there, you just jump slide, you know, you're already jumping and leaping across here, and then you're sliding downward. So your character is moving up, then he's moving down, and that's a lot harder to hit than if he's just moving like that. All right, so jump sliding is very important. Even like, what's another jump thing? Jumping around corners. So I usually only do this if I have no other movement available. So let's just say somebody shoots me and I want to re-challenge him, and I'm in this position right here. Well, I can't slide, because if I slide, I'm over here, and he's going to be able to shoot at me while I'm transitioning. I can't dive, because if I dive, I'll be over here, and my gun is on the ground, and I can't shoot him fast enough. And maybe if I peek or drop shot, I'm in an uncomfortable position that I just can't do that. I want to kill him fast, and he'll probably reach me by the time I drop shot. And that is when you jump around the corner like this. And I do that move a lot. Usually do it with SMGs, because SMGs are extremely fast, and this is usually like a move that you want to catch people off guard, like as a fast surprise attack. You don't want to make this your default. All right, so like let's say I'm shooting somebody over here and they're shooting at me, and I know I can win. Jump shoot like that. It works really well. You'd be surprised how well it works. But we got jump sliding, jumping like that, and then jumping off the drop shot too. So if I drop, just spamming the jump button like that. I don't do that all the time. Usually what I try to do is I stay on the ground when I drop shot, and I wait till they start shooting at me. And once they start shooting at me, then I jump up. Because the thing is, if they're trying to shoot at me and I'm still on the ground, they're not going to hit me. But if they're shooting at me and they miss shots and then they start shooting at the ground, well, if I jump up, they're going to miss more shots. So it's like you're trying to make them miss as many shots as long as possible, so that you can be able to get as many hits in, so that you can kill your opponent. All right, now I'm going to talk about side-to-side strafing. All right, so this is really important for just throwing off your enemy's aim. So this could be used if you're out in the open and you have no other cover possible, or if you just want to have a better opportunity to kill somebody. Because I use a lot of movement when I know that my opponent has like a loadout or something, like a really good weapon, and I have a bad weapon. So to counter that, I have to use movement to make him miss more shots, so that I can hit more headshots and kill him. Alright, so strafing, it's really easy. It's just every time you're around a corner, you want to bait the person. You want to run in one direction, and then immediately look back and run the other direction. And the low stick max dead zone, keeping it at 0.05 or anything just really low, really helps with my strafe. Like, my strafe is extremely fast, unless I'm using like an LMG or something, right? And then I could always switch like a knife or something, a shorter weapon, to make it even faster. Alright, so let's just say there's a guy over there and he sees me and I want to get to cover. I can strafe like this, and immediately jump over here, and slide over here, go out like this, and pop out. It's like you always want to keep that left and right movement, because the more you look, or the more your character is left and right, the more your opponent has to drag their aim left and right. If you're running straight forward to them, sliding or jumping in a forward motion, all they have to do is look up and down. But it takes more work to look left and right if you're actually strafing left and right. Don't do like no diagonal movements and jumping like this. No, you want to go as left and right as possible to be able to break that aim assist, or make them miss a lot of shots if they're on mouse, and then finally pop out and kill them when they ran out of bullets, or when you have a really good position to shoot them. Alright guys, so this next thing I'm about to show you too, this might be the last thing I talk about in this movement vid. But this is what I call a slide stagger, and this is really good for if somebody's chasing you, right? So let's just say you're running around a corner, but you want to be able to defeat your opponent and use movement to take him out. And on top of that, you have a good hip fire weapon. What you want to do is you want to bait him out and then you want to time your sliding right to where you're going to touch his body, and his gun is in this motion when he's looking out like this. Because what he's going to do is he's going to be stunned as soon as you run into his body, and his movement is going to be completely shut off. He's going to have no movement, and he's going to look like that afterwards. But he's going to have no movement. He's going to be stuck in place. He's going to be trying to shoot you, and you're already going to be in a moving motion and hip firing him right there. All right, so again, it's like run around the corner. Make sure you listen to the footsteps and you know like the range where he's coming around, and try to time your slide right until like sliding right into his kneecaps, and then hip firing him from right there to use movements to defeat him like that. All right, and actually another small thing I'm gonna show you real quick too. This is what I call a slide bait. So this is probably like the #1 thing I would do to get information from a long area that people might be at. All right, it's super easy. It's just a slide cancel and immediately look away. So like this, you can see my body's moving around. Yup, slide bait. So what this does is it makes it impossible for you to die here, because they're not going to destroy you in like 0.5 seconds while you're checking like this. And as soon as you pop out from here, even if you see enemies, or if you haven't seen them in time, you immediately want to look away and run like this, because you don't want to look out and then see the opponent, see that there's enemies there, and then run out. You want to look out and immediately run back, so that as your mind is still processing what's happened, it'll be like, oh, I've saw like a few dots over there, maybe that's people, instead of actually going out, peeking, and then you're getting shot because they're looking at your face. All right, so it's like you're looking so fast that you can't even process what you're looking at. But as soon as you turn away, either you're gonna know that people are there by seeing them, by like, oh yeah, I just saw those people, or they're gonna shoot at you and miss all their shots, and then you know that people are there. All right, so that's what I call a side peek or side bait, whatever you want to call it. Really good for that. And yeah, that's usually like the most basic things I would do with my movement. So I would just chain all those things together. And there might be other minor stuff I might talk about in the future. Those are the main things that really help me have great movement in this game, and hopefully you guys can apply them yourself and get a lot better games in Vondel and Warzone. All right, so that was my movement guide. Also, I am going to be streaming on Kick soon when I do start my live streams, so you guys can catch me on there. And you can join the Discord for just connecting with other people. If I ever go live or anything like that, you can get notifications for that. And any of my services that you are interested in getting, you can find them on there. I'm also looking for people to push out my services, so if you guys want to make some quick money, you can do that as well.